It died like right after I put it in, really. Not sure what this is. I know it's a weed, obviously, but it's got a pretty little purple flower. If you know what it is, just let me know. I planted comfrey in here. I'm hoping that's what that is. I know I've got a couple of weeds over on this side. But it seems like it took the comfrey, if that's what it is, forever to germinate. My ground cover that was that brilliant yellow a few weeks ago, it is spreading to different parts of this area, so that's good. Next spring it should be a brilliant yellow in lots of places. I'm excited for that. Something else that I'm not sure what it is. I know a couple years ago I put some, I think it's called vinca here, and I don't know if that's what this is or not. If you happen to know, let me know that too. I planted a ton of flower seeds in this area, and it looks like I have a few, like maybe one or two things coming up, along with a few weeds. Don't know why. I just don't always have good luck with planting seeds directly in the ground. They don't seem to like it here. Oh, and to let you know, last fall I did prepare this ground by putting a lot of compost in and then threw some soil up on top so that, yeah, well, there you can see the compost. That area doesn't have any weeds, but it doesn't have anything else either. And so the soil should be nice and rich. The potatoes are looking nice. I need to throw some more dirt, kind of mound them up a little better and get rid of all that grass that's in front of them there. My onions are coming up nice there too. And the wild rose that's right there. Nice looking potatoes. Okay. The lawn is looking really tall. We sold our lawnmower. Well, we had our eye on a lawnmower we wanted to buy. So we sold our lawnmower. Then we went into town to buy the lawnmower that we wanted. And guess what? They already sold it, so they had to order one. And it'll be a couple more weeks before it's here. 3 weeks is what they said, but 1 week of that's already passed. However, later today, our lawn, right now there's a lot of dew on the grass. Later today it will get mowed because our neighbor across the street loaned us his lawnmower. He's not going to mow his lawn for a few days. He'll mow it toward the beginning of next week. So we're going to use his lawnmower to mow our lawn. This tomato that I put in the pot is doing nicely. Let's see what kind I said it was. Oh, it should be really pretty here. It's a Brad's Atomic. So it'll be colorful when the tomatoes start coming. I'll have to put a stake of some kind in as it gets a little taller. And the eggplants there and there are doing fine also. And I put rhubarb into this one. And when it gets bigger, end of summer probably, maybe I'll leave it in the pot until next spring and then put it somewhere in the ground in a permanent spot. Yeah, these are the onions I planted the other day and had to put holes in the bottom because it was collecting water. And this one looks like it flipped over upside down. So I'll move it, turn it around. Okay. And it doesn't look like it's dying or anything, so it hasn't been in there long enough for the onions to sprout up yet. I planted a lot of sunflower seeds along this whole area. The ground should be fertile because I put compost and stuff on it last year, and then over the winter, and then again before I planted. And the grass likes it. There's something coming up right there, and right there's one. But other than that, I should have had. I know how quickly sunflowers germinate. It does look like I might have one there. And something coming up here, finally. I saw a squirrel back here earlier this morning, kind of running back and forth and then climbing up the fence. But it doesn't look like anything was disturbed. I'm gonna make this bigger so you can see that my corn is coming up. That's nice. I'll show you my worms. Oh yeah, there's a few there around the eggshells. Oh, and I noticed some of the eggshells have been moved. That's interesting. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of worms down in there. I don't know if you can see them on the camera, but they're there. Oh, there's some. Maybe you can see crawling around. Well, I'll cover that back up. Ah, there's a bunch of them over here. I don't know if you can see them or not. It's interesting. I can see them. Well, you know what happened? There was a bunch of them there. They crawled down. They don't like the light, but it's plenty damp in here. I think I'll leave the lid off for a little while. That'll help it to dry out just a little bit. I don't want it to get too wet. I have shredded paper at the top. I know some people use cardboard. Mine's just shredded paper. Those corn husks, I don't think they're going to get eaten. But they're there. Well, I'm just letting the camera go all over the place. Now, I need someone to tell me what this is. I'll get down here, make it more. It's standing about, close to maybe 18 inches or so tall. There's a patch of clover. So I'm sure that my husband will try to get rid of it. He doesn't like it in his lawn. Strawberry plants I transplanted from over by the neighbor's fence. On our side, of course. I moved to here and they're doing great. And there's a Button. When she was just a little baby, we said she was cute as a button. So we named her Cute as a Button. But we just call her Button. Or Butt Face, whatever is appropriate. I am going to take my shoes off. They're sopping wet. Yeah, let them sit here where they'll be in the sun and they will dry out. I think sometime today I'm going to get some of this planted out into the ground. It's looking good here, and it's more than hardened off because it's been here for several weeks. But it will do it good to get out into the real garden. Well, nothing has germinated here yet, but it's only been in here a couple of days, so soon I hope. And this little tree gets taller by the day. And my microgreens are just about ready for me to harvest. And I don't think those avocado seeds are going to make trees, but you never know. I think I planted them about the same time as this one, so they had kind of roots, but they never did pop up a stem. So, and a DeWalt battery there. I have a battery charger and a flashlight down here. I didn't know what I wanted for breakfast, so I thought, I'll just throw a bunch of stuff in the Instant Pot. I let it go on pressure for 35 minutes, and then I released the steam, and I'm ready to open. Oh, and that looks good, doesn't it? Okay, so what all did I put in here? Take a spoon and stir. Oh, yes. That's good. All right. In the freezer, I found a little bag of asparagus soup that I had saved back and frozen, so I threw that in there. I put in some white beans, some rice, some lentils. That's about it. I didn't even put any salt or pepper in it, so I'll season it to taste after I take it out. But it looks good, doesn't it? And that's what I'm going to have for breakfast. It died like right after I put it in, really. So that's my little tour for the day. I need to do something with my hair, like comb it maybe. That would be a good thing. Anyway, my main reason for making this video is I wanted to find out if any of you know where. Remember I started out the video with my fig tree that died. Where can I get some fig starts? Well, it needs to, because we're in zone 6B, it needs to be a hardy fig, and that one was a Chicago fig. But right after I planted it, it didn't get cold so much as it got really, 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 really wet. And the purple sweet potatoes starts that I had gotten from Baker Creek, I had planted those and the fig tree all out at the same time. And they looked fine for a day or so, and then it rained so much, the sweet potatoes just totally disappeared, just totally. Part of it wasn't just the rain. We had like really strong winds along with it, and it was just too much for the new plants. So, but I didn't really know what to do with them indoors because they needed to be planted out. And it supposedly was past our frost date. We did get a couple of days that were almost frosty right after I planted them too. But then we haven't had any frost since then. So I know how to replace the sweet potatoes, and I might not get the purple ones. I might just have regular ones. But it's the fig tree. I found several places that sell them, but they're like, I don't want to pay that much. The one that I bought, I got it at Home Depot, and it was $12. Okay, I looked at Baker Creek. They had, I believe it was 2 plants, it might have been 3, for around the same price, 12-ish, but they're out of stock. So I looked at Starks, and I looked at Burpee. I looked at several companies that came up when I did my Google search, and for like one plant, it was like $19. I don't want to pay that much. I pinch my pennies. And I know that it's relatively easy to start figs. So what I'm wondering is if any of you have a Chicago fig. And I could take a different kind of fig too if it was fairly hardy, and I'd have to put it in a pot rather than out in the ground, because it would need to be brought in the winter. Whereas the Chicago one, I think I could just mulch it real good, because it gets way colder in Chicago than it does here in the wintertime. We get down into the 20s and teens. Maybe once in a while we'll have a day or so down to 0, but usually not any colder than that. And last winter we had a bit of snow. Some winters we have no snow. Other winters we have snow. We had almost 18 inches last winter, but it wasn't all on the ground at the same time. Anyway, if any of you have a start of a Chicago fig that you would like to donate to me, I would be over the moon happy. So let me know. And if you've got something, message me and I can send you my address. And we'll go from there. And we'll see. I just really would like to have at least one fig tree. More than one would be great. Without having to pay an arm and a leg. Free. I like free. Anything. I'm a penny pincher. My husband is too. We're a matching pair. Anything we can get at a discount or a bargain or free, that's a good thing. And from watching a lot of your videos, I know that most of you are the same way. You use the resources that you have, and you do the best you can with what you've got, without spending a whole ton of money on things that you might only use a time or two. Well, we are spending some money on a new lawnmower, that we are. And lawnmowers are not cheap. We've got big enough yard. It has to be a riding lawnmower. And we're spending money on that. But basically, other than the lawnmower that we're getting and our mortgage, we're pretty debt-free. We made sure of that before we retired, because we didn't want a lot of debt hanging over our heads. So we use our credit cards when we purchase things. Yes, we do. But within usually the same day, or maybe within a week, we pay it off, so that we don't have any credit card debt, even though we use our credit cards. Because we just don't carry around a whole lot of cash anymore. Nobody does. Anyway, back to the fig tree. My prayer is that somehow or another I get a fig tree and that it thrives for me. And all the things that I showed you today, not all of them, but several of them, are things that I either don't know what they are, or they're not doing very well, like my sunflowers. Usually, if I've done sunflowers for microgreens, they germinate fast and come up fast. But the ones I planted out in the ground, not so much. And every year I plant sunflowers along that fence. I don't know what the problem is this year. I may need to replant. And usually I just have one kind of sunflower along there, and I got a whole bunch of different kinds of sunflowers this year. And I'm really disappointed that they're not cooperating with me. But that's what happens when you garden. Some things do well, other things don't. And it's all out of our control, basically. Well, today's a Thursday, and I don't know what day you'll be watching this, but happy whatever day you're watching this. Happy gardening, happy cooking, happy trying to figure things out. Be kind to one another. May the good Lord richly bless you. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little bell so you'll be notified. Hit the like button. Share. My channel is growing very slowly, but it is growing. It amazes me that it's growing. But when I look at some of your channels are about the same as mine. Others of you are humongous. And it's just the draw of the straw, I guess, as to who gets thousands of subscribers and who gets hundreds. I'm in the 200 range, 200, I forget, 225, I'm a little less than 250, I think. But we're getting there. And it would be a nice little retirement income if I got enough subscribers that I could be monetized, but I'm a long ways off from that. So right now it's just a hobby, and I enjoy sharing my life with you. And until next time, this is Darlene from Darlene's Garden at Markwood Meadows in Athena, Oregon. Look it up on a map. That's in eastern Oregon. People think of, here I'm blabbering on, but that's okay, I guess. People think of Oregon being green and lush and beautiful. On our side of the state, in the eastern part of Oregon, you go somewhere where there's nothing, no farmland or anything, it's sagebrush and rattlesnakes. And the farmers around here grow wheat and peas, canola. Not too far from here, they grow potatoes and onions and mint. But those are the kinds of crops that the farmers grow. And I live in the city limits, so obviously things are green and pretty here, but you get out away from the city limits and it's beautiful in its own way. It's especially beautiful if you're up in an airplane and look down. It looks like a patchwork quilt with all different shades of yellow and brown, green. Anyway, we're 18 miles from Pendleton, Oregon, home of the world-famous Pendleton Roundup, always the second full week in September. And we're 18 miles from Walla Walla, Washington. The town's so nice, they named it twice. So we're halfway in between Walla Walla, Washington and Pendleton, Oregon, on the Oregon side, in a little town called Athena. So look it up on your map. And come join me on my next video.